So what we want to talk about today is multi-sites and how that actually works in supply chain and in manufacturing and in ERPs in general. So when you have multiple sites, the complexity actually just goes up, and it's a factor of how many sites you have. And obviously you try to figure out how to balance things out. So for example, if you have inventory in multiple locations across the country, you want to move the inventory close to where your customers are, but you might run out of inventory somewhere. So you have to move the inventory from one location to another and then supply the customer that way. Or you might forecast incorrectly, and now you have the inventory across, maybe on the West Coast, and you have the need on the East Coast, and you can't supply the need, and you have to actually move it around. So figuring out there's the balance is actually something that you have to calculate, you have to optimize, you have to forecast, you have to simulate. And that can be super tricky. Also, when you're doing manufacturing in multiple sites, you have raw material coming in for like the actual manufacturing. And the same thing can happen, like they're missing raw material to keep the lines running. Also, multiple sites can be in different countries. So if you have your inventory location or a manufacturing location in another country, you might have to have that in a different company, because from a legal perspective, you have to do your books in that country. And so all of the transactions have to be inside that company. So you have two different companies. And then those two different companies have to interact with each other almost like they're independent entities, but they might be owned by the same organization. And that organization is like, it doesn't really matter if like my inventory is Canada and I need it in the US, I need to see it. It needs to be transparent across. So these type of complexities come up when you have multiple sites. And of course you want to have multiple sites because you need to have the inventory locations close to the customer. And if you manufacture something or you're making food somewhere, to actually have to truck it all over the country or even into different countries is sometimes not cost beneficial. So most companies that actually grow and scale end up having lots of locations where the inventory is stored, and then they are like weighing like, okay, I make the product in 3 places. I might then have locations across the country where I store the product, and those locations might not be mine. They might be hired. Some of them might be mine, etc., etc. So actually managing this within the ERP is critical. And you don't want to do this outside the ERP because you need the data. You need the data that's both historical, so you can plan, and of course the actual transaction that's happening currently, the real-time data. And if you're putting all of that data into one database or data lake or wherever that is, you can then be planning and seeing the trends based on that. And of course, if there's a company entity that's scoped out, so you have 2 companies and you have to do intercompany transactions between those 2 companies, that has to be seamless. And there has to be visibility of the inventory between the companies. And this is really tricky to do. And in inecta Food, we have solved many of these problems. We've been faced with very difficult situations and found solutions and incorporated into our solution, so that if you actually have a multi-site entity, we can definitely help you out and make it work in the best way possible.